Well, hello. We've got a great, easy topic, hopefully, for you today. Multiplying monomials and binomials. You'll see quite a few vocab words tonight, so just take great notes. Make sure you write everything down, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, so we've got a lot of multiplying today, and we've got to just work on our vocabulary a little bit. Monomials refer to one term. Mono meaning one. The second thing we're going to see quite a bit today is our exponent rules. If I have x to the m times x to the n, what do we do with the base and what do we do with the exponent? So let me just be clear. This x represents the base, and up here this m represents the exponent. Okay, so what we do is we keep the base and we add the exponents. And hopefully that sounds familiar to you. So let me just make a note. We're going to keep the base and add the exponent. All right, so exercise 1. Find each of the following products. So 3x squared times 5x cubed. Well, 3 and 5 are called those coefficients. We're just going to multiply those. 3 times 5 is 15. Now I have x squared times x cubed. So I'm going to keep the base and add the exponents. So I've got 15x to the 5th. You try the next one. Hopefully you're saying negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. The x's, keep the base, add the exponents. Remember, there is an exponent of 1 there. So I actually get x to the 4th. All right, same idea. Multiply the coefficients, the numbers in front, so that's a positive 15. All right, take your x's. I'm going to get x to the, there's a 1 there, so x to the 3rd, y to the 7th. Remember, keep the base, add the exponents. Now, there's a couple ways to do part D here. 4x quantity squared. All right, I actually should say the quantity 4x squared. And let's write that down. Anytime you have parentheses, we're going to read that as the quantity. Quantity 4x squared. All right, and that means two things. First, you can take it as squared, meaning you have two of them, and you could really say it's 4x times 4x. So my coefficients, my 4 times 4 would get me 16, and my x times x would get me x squared. Another thing you could say to yourself is basically I have to square everybody in there. So 4 squared is 16, and x squared is x squared. So two ways to think about it. Polynomial then represents the sum of one or more terms. Poly meaning many. So instead of a monomial, instead of one term, we're going to see many terms. So exercise 2 says use the distributive property and the exponent laws to rewrite each of the following products without parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to use that distributive property when I have this number in front. 5 times 2x, again the coefficients get me 10 with an x. Then there's a plus sign, and 5 times 8 is 40. Same idea with b. Take this 3x and distribute it into this quantity. 3 times 4, the coefficients make 12. X times x is x squared. Then I have a minus sign. 7 times 3 is 21, and we'll slap that x on there as well. All right, why don't you pause it, do C and D, see if you get the same thing. Hopefully yours match with mine. So again, when I have that number or term or monomial in front, I'm using the distributive property. The third vocabulary term we need to talk about is binomial. Binomial means two unlike terms. Bi, like bicycle wheel, two unlike terms. And to multiply binomials, we need to use what we call FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. So exercise 3, write each of the following products in simplest ax squared plus bx plus c form. And all that's saying is you should have a coefficient on your x squared plus a term with the x plus c. So let me walk you through a FOIL once. The first means the first in each set. X times x is x squared. Outer means the outermost. X times 8, and notice that's a positive, so 8x. Inner means the innermost 2. Positive 5 times positive x is a positive 5x. And the last is the last from each set. Positive 5 times positive 8 is positive 40. Now these middle terms should always go together. So I'm going to say that's x squared, they're like terms, 8x plus 5x, is 13x plus 40. And notice you've done it. You've put it in ax squared plus bx plus c form. In this case, my a value is the number in front of x squared, which remember there's always a 1 there if you don't see a number. My b value is 13, and my c value is 40. All right, let's try example B. So FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. My first is 3x squared. My outer is 3x times negative 4, so I get a negative 12x. My inner is a positive 2x. And my last is a negative 8. So again, my inner terms should go together. So that's 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. And again, my a value is the 3, my b value is the negative 10, and my c value is negative 8. And that's just based off this, ax squared plus bx plus c. So likewise, why don't you pause it, try c and d and see if we get the same answers. So hopefully yours matched with mine. Here's my first answer to C and my answer to D as well. Exercise 4. Which of the following is equivalent to the quantity 4x minus 3 squared? Notice how I read that. I saw the parentheses first, so I said the quantity 4x minus 3 and then squared. So all you have to do is be real careful with that squared and just remember to say squared means write it twice. So I'm saying 4x minus 3 times the quantity 4x minus 3. And carefully FOIL. So I've got 16x squared minus 12x plus 9. Remember, those like terms can go together. So I've got 16 minus x squared minus 24x plus 9. I'm going with option 4. Our last big vocab word for the day is conjugates. Now this should be a new term to you most likely. In this course, binomials that have the form x plus a and x minus a will commonly arise. Due to the frequency of these pairings, these two binomials of this form are referred to as conjugates. The product of conjugates also has a special form, which will be illustrated in the next exercise. So notice what a conjugate is. It's x plus a, and then that same x minus a. Okay? Let's look at example 4. In letter A, notice they're conjugates. I have x plus 5, then x minus 5. So I keep the first term, I'm changing the sign of the second term. Now watch what happens when I multiply them, when I FOIL them out. So x times x is x squared. Notice I'm going to get a minus 5x, and then a positive 5x, then a minus 25. What happened to my middle term when I have conjugates? Negative 5 and positive 5 make 0, so I get x squared minus 25. Watch the next one, B. Again, I have conjugates. I have 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2. When they're in that form, those are called conjugates. So I've got 9x squared. I'm going to get a minus 6x and then a plus 6x minus 4. What happens to those middle terms again? You're right, they canceled. 9x squared minus 4. This is a common theme that happens in conjugates. So here's what I like to say. If I notice they're conjugates right off the bat, you really only need to do first and last, because those outers and inners cancel every time. Now again, that only works if they're conjugates. So my first is 2x times 2x, which is 4x squared. My outer and inner will cancel when they're conjugates, and then my last gets me a minus 1. Makes your math a little quicker if you know they're conjugates. Letter D, are they conjugates? X minus y and x plus y. Yes. So we like to call that Florida style, FL. I can go first and last, a little Florida style. X times x is x squared. Outer and inners cancel, minus y squared. So take your time and look for those conjugates. They will make your life a little simpler, and you can go that Florida style, first and last only. Exercise 5. The product of a binomial x plus a with its conjugate will always equal what? Well, all you do is you write down your first term, x plus a, and it says product, so that means you're going to multiply. It says by its conjugate. Hopefully you figured this out now. What is the conjugate of x plus a? Hopefully you're saying it's x minus a. Just change the middle sign. If this one's positive, its conjugate's negative. If this one's negative, its conjugate is positive. Now, because they're conjugates, remember, we can go Florida style and do first and last. First is x squared. If you don't trust yourself, you can do the outer and inner and show that they cancel. And the last is minus a squared. But remember, that trick only works for conjugates. So I'm going choice 2. 7. Which of the following represents the product of the binomial 5x minus 3 with its conjugate? Watch that word product and conjugate. Hopefully you've got it. The conjugate of 5x minus 3 is 5x plus 3. All right, since they're conjugates, I'm going to go Florida style, first and last only. And again, if you don't trust yourself, FOIL it all out and show that they cancel. Pause it, see what you get. Well, I went the long way just to prove to you that they are conjugates, that the middle terms cancel. And my Florida style, my first and last is 25x squared minus 9. Exercise 8, the monomial x squared minus 36 is the result of which of the following products? Well, notice the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. I have the x squared term and I have the c term, which means the middle terms canceled, which means I must have multiplied by conjugates. That's the only way those middle terms cancel. Now, so look at your choices. We need a Florida style and we need conjugates. Let's look at option 1. Are they conjugates? No. I went x minus 4. The conjugate should be x plus 4. Those are not conjugates. Option 2. X minus 6. The conjugate should be x plus 6. So that's out. I think if I look at option 4, I have conjugates x minus 6, x plus 6. If I FOIL those out, x times x is x squared, and negative 6 times positive 6 gets me that negative 36. So I'm going to go with option 4. Well, it's that time of the night, guys. We've made it to the last one, exercise 9. Look how ugly this looks. Find the following product in simplest terms. Now you'll notice we have 4 terms, and I think it's easier to kind of group them and do 2 at a time. So I'm going to start with the first 2 and multiply those. I'm going to do x minus 2 and x plus 2. And I'm going to break it up and I'm going to do the next 2 and multiply those over here. X minus 5 and x plus 5. Now, there is something special about these, and hopefully you've caught it already. If I have x minus 2, then x plus 2, that's that fancy word, conjugate. So I can go Florida style. Those middle terms will cancel. So x times x is x squared. I'm going to get plus 2x minus 2x. Because they're conjugates, those will cancel. And then my last term is minus 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared minus 4. Okay, now I'm going to go over and multiply those other 2. Do I have conjugates again? X minus 5 and now x plus 5. So yes, Florida style once more. X squared. And again, I'm going to get that positive 5x minus 5x. Those cancel in conjugates. Minus my last term, which is 25. So I have x squared minus 4 times x squared minus 25. Now I have to multiply these 2. And it's just a simple FOIL. First, x squared times x squared, remember when you multiply, add the exponents. Outer, minus 25x squared. Inner, minus 4x squared. Last, plus 100. I've got like terms here, so I'm going to say that's x to the 4th minus 29x squared plus 100. Now, that really wasn't that bad. I think it looked a lot uglier than it was. So don't get too intimidated. Just take your time and have some confidence. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.